All right, we will move then to page 5 on the agenda under committee reports, item I. We will start with Committee of the Whole, and Alderman Eric Sitkowitz is the chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a couple documents that the clerk has, and then I have one for discussion when that business is complete.
All right, we will take those items up.
Document 1048 is status of alderperson as qualified elector. Committee of the Whole returns same, recommending to accept the report and place on file.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Bailey.
I was just curious to the report that Crusaders submitted. Why wasn't that included as well?
Alderman Sitkowitz, would you like to?
I don't, is he asking, was it included or?
Yeah, why is it included actually in the attachment?
As an attachment?
Yeah, as the other reports were.
Okay.
Included as.
I don't know. I know the clerk has received it or the attorney has it.
I know everybody should have a copy of it as I handed them out.
So, I mean, just to take a stab, I mean, typically documents we attach are city official documents in a sense, I guess. So that's why the one report is there. I guess we sometimes view documents we get at public input as just, what do we call them? I'm sorry. Sorry, the word is escaping my mind, but we don't necessarily attach them as city documents. City Attorney McDaniel, do you want to discuss that?
Sure. When Crusaders presented that report, they indicated that it was sort of a visual aid and that they were hoping that it would not become public. So when we had to attach items referenced this report, I simply attached those that were generated by the city hired investigator and did not attach the Crusaders report.
I mean, if it makes it more clear, I'd be happy to bring the Crusaders report as a council document and place it on file next meeting.
Thank you. And I just wanted to be, going forward, any documentation that is released, I would like both sides. I like the city's investigation, because you do have the city's investigation that the city hired, and then you also have the private investigator that an anonymous source, well, not anonymous anymore, but hard to find source reported. So I just would like the Crusaders, so if we have all three investigations up there, it'll kind of give complete transparency. So if that's okay.
Kathleen, if you could make the Crusaders report an official council committee, the whole document, I'd be more than happy to act on that at the next committee or council meeting.
Sure, I'll work with the clerk's office and we'll have that added to the COW agenda for the next month's meeting.
All right, any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously.
Document 1087, process for handling complaint alleging Alderperson Aaron Bailey does not reside in District 7. Turn same. Recommending to refer to State Attorney General's office.
Council, your pleasure on this report.
Move for the adoption of the committee's report, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Alderman Bailey.
I just want to say for the record, this is just getting too long, too repetitive, and it's never going to stop. So you can send it to whoever you're going to send it to, but it's never going to stop. As long as I look like I look, it's never going to stop. So I don't know if that helps you guys see where I'm looking at, but you definitely are not looking the way I'm looking, so thank you.
Thank you. I have Alderman Novak next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just got a couple comments just off everything that was said tonight and over the past, I don't know how long we've been doing this, 4 months now. I think we've been doing this. I think when it initially started, and I made these comments last time, is that this started off as a complaint that came in. There was questions asked in closed session. I'm not sure we can discuss in closed session back there, but there was questions asked and there was uncertainty in the whole thing. And unfortunately, I really believe that this group of council up here and everybody on Zoom as well has Alderman Bailey's back and does back him as much as we can. I really do believe that. I don't think anybody on this council looks at it as a race thing, but it looks at it as something that had to be investigated for some reason, because somebody brought a complaint up. I don't know where we go from here. I'm not going to support sending this out of the city's hands, because if somebody has an issue with it, then they need to pull papers and run in District 7 and run against Alderman Bailey and let this be a democratic process. Until that happens, and we're literally talking about 4 months. I believe Alder Hansen brought this up, that we're very close to getting and redoing the elections. We'll be pulling papers if we want to run again in December. So I think this is an unfortunate circumstance that puts a bad light on the council, that I don't believe it was anybody's vision of how this was going to turn out into this. So just something I wanted to state for tonight, but I won't be supporting sending this out of the city's hands right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Novak. Any further discussion on the motion? Alderwoman Hanson.
Thank you. I think Alder Novak put it more eloquently, and I don't need to, iPad flying down over here. Don't need to restate everything he just said, but all in all, same reason why I won't be supporting this evening.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Alder Bailey.
I think this probably is the only time, and I'm gonna just leave it at this, to just put it bluntly. The levels that, and I'll say this, I don't feel the council should have had the burden of dealing with this and it going this far. I just want to say that the level that the city attorney, Eric Sikowitz, the president of the council, did things, it compromised the whole integrity of the council. I don't know what this council looked like other than what those pictures show on the wall prior to me and the integrity of it, but it seemed like there was always something going on. However, as many things has happened with people that sit on the council, that have been with the council, I have never seen this level of interest, the level of belittling, the level of harassment, the level of taking pictures of people getting out of cars. And this is not a Catholic church or anything. There's no saints that's saying that how thy father, everybody has have done something, or they're not perfect. So when you try to put me in a box to where I'm looked at in a different light than everybody else, I have to question the motive. And I would never want to play a race card. But when everybody says, why you? Why you? Why you, after all the things that happened in times past on council, never anything at this level. So why? And that's where I think a lot of people don't see, if they read the reports, if they see that most of the things that was compiled, majority of the things that was talked about was all in bad taste. It was all, it had actually nothing to do with my district. And the reason why I feel like we're sending this off to the district attorney and not waiting to do a actual process of voting is because you guys want to not only keep me from running again, but making sure that I don't have the support of my peers. And that's very, very damaging when you don't have the support of your peers and they look at you differently. So I always invited you guys to say, if we all can get together, get messages and letters from our ex-girlfriends and ex-girlfriends' best friends, if we can get pictures of us doing stuff and all sit together, we can get our driving records, and if we can get all that, I would love to sit down with you guys and have an honest conversation about integrity and about things. I mean, we have a book about me this thick, damn near this thick, about me, and it's nothing about me. And if anything, it's my past. And why is my past relevant to my future? Apparently someone, or some people don't like the way that I look as a representation of the city. And I feel like if those folks, and you guys all stand behind this as saying that I don't like the way he represents or he looks as a representation of the city, then we can't hide behind the fact that, oh, it's this and that. You have to say exactly what it is. I just don't like the way you look as a representation of the city. But we have to have the same balance and same measuring for everybody else on the council. And that's here and future-wise. That's it.
Thank you, Alderman Bailey. I have Alderman Sakala next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick question for Kathleen. Kathleen, what was the recommended course of action by Alder Bailey's attorney?
Alder Bailey's attorney, in the letter that he sent to the council, which several of you were kind enough to share with me because he did not copy me on it, was complaining that the council was choosing to act on this, and he indicated that he wanted this referred to the Wisconsin Attorney General under Wisconsin Statute 8.28.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you done, Alderman Sakala? Thank you. I have Alderman Bryan next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I could go off in a lot of directions, and I'm certainly not going to do that. I want to defend our city attorney, Kathleen McDaniel. She did nothing wrong in this whole thing. She asked, she did the questions, she did the bargaining, she did whatever she had to do. The Common Council, the alderman asked her to do it. She has not done anything wrong. And to call her and say that she's doing this out of race is just utterly ridiculous. I've known Kathleen now going on 15 years, and the last thing that she would do anything to jeopardize anything regarding the race relations, that's insane. So Kathleen, on behalf of this portion of the Common Council, and I think the entire Common Council, you're doing a great job, and you didn't do anything wrong during this whole case. You were, in a sense, doing your job. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bry. I have Alderman Bruner.
Hi, thank you. If we were to go the route of not sending this off to the State Attorney General, and maybe this was discussed in committee as a whole, but what are the options? I mean, there was only one other option that I recall. Are we committed to one of those two options, or is there a third option that we don't know about? And I guess that might be a question for Kathleen.
Yeah, Kathleen, why don't you take that one?
Sure, that's a good question, Alder Bruner. As we talked about last week, but I know we've had a lot of meetings since that last meeting. There's basically two routes we can go. Either a referral to the Attorney General under 8.28, or any alternative, council doing a review and an investigation further if they wanted to. Otherwise, then council could hold a public hearing under Chapter 17, which has got a removal process for alders. So based on the action that was taken at last week's Committee of the Whole meeting, which, as you know, is the Common Council plus the mayor, the vote was taken to refer it to the Attorney General's office. So the initial complaint from Mr. Fessler has been forwarded to the Attorney General's office. I have not heard back from them yet, but that's where we're at to date.
Thank you, Kathleen. Alderman Bruner, you still have the floor.
Thank you. So does that mean that the vote we are taking right now is actually kind of meaningless because in a sense this action has already been taken?
I don't want to say that it's meaningless, but whenever anything is done at the Committee of the Whole, ultimately council needs to be the final decision-making body to act on it. That's a bit unusual with the Committee of the Whole because obviously the Committee of the Whole is simply the council plus the mayor, but procedurally these were placed on the agenda somewhat of a formality. Obviously, if you choose to reverse your decisions on things, you're allowed to and able to do that, but the intention in placing them on the agenda was just to finalize the record.
Alderman Bruner, you still have the floor.
Thank you very much. That will do it.
All right. Any further discussion from the council? I have Alderman Schley.
Just one quick question, and I apologize for having to have you repeat your answer, but I didn't quite get it all. Kathleen, when you were speaking about the alder's attorney and his request, just to simplify things, did he actually say he wanted this sent to the AG?
Yes, Attorney Ben Hitchcock-Cross sent all of you a letter. I think it was 6 pages long. I don't have it open in front of me right now, saying that he did not believe council had the authority to act, which I disagree with, and that he believed this should be acted upon by the Wisconsin Attorney General.
So, in essence, are we leaving ourselves open to legal action if we don't send it to the AG?
I think your actions earlier were defensible. I've notified our insurance carrier that there's a potential claim on this either way based on the comments that Alder Bailey's attorney has made to the city. That being said, I don't think your exposure is greater or lesser whether or not you do this. I think the exposure is what it is at this point.
Thank you.
Are you, anything else, Alderman Schley? You still have the floor?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, we will move to Alderman Bailey.
Okay, just a couple things. Thank you, Mayor. One was just in reference to my attorney. He was saying the process that you guys were originally doing this at was illegal and it was a violation of code of ethics. So he was, I believe, telling you that if you're going to go this route, this is how it's actually supposed to be handled. Not saying this is how you better do it, because up until that point, nobody listened to any information or advice that was given by anybody that represented me. And then also, Alderman Bry, I'm sorry. Alderman Bry, when you speak on somebody's integrity and reputation, that's great because you know her firsthand experience, 15 years. I didn't have that pleasure of knowing her for 15 years because if I did, I guarantee you I would have never had this process and had the kind of mistreatment and mishandling of information towards me. Now, if you read the reports, you will see that there was violations that ensued in her handling the information. Now, granted, things happen. A lot of emails come in and out, but you cannot constantly make excuses just because somebody's your friend. Okay, there's a difference between being a friend and being a representative. You know, you can't be both at the time. You can work in two different boards, but when it comes to facts, you can't just say, oh, that's my friend, so their facts is legit. No, you have to call it out when you see it. And if you don't see it, then that's just how it is. But for me, the things that I witnessed from Attorney Kathleen McDaniels was unbecoming. The level of harassment that she ensued on me and people that know me, my friends, literally bullying people for information. That's integrity? I don't know. I just feel like that. For me, my vision is different from yours, obviously. So I can't speak to her outside of this, but on a professional level, this is my first impression of her. I'm new to this council board, and first impressions is everything. So that's my first impression. I wish things would be different moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Bailey. I have Alderman Bryan next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess Alderman Bailey, I guess it's depressing to hear what you're saying about our city attorney because it's not based on friendship when I ask her questions. If there was something wrong against me, which she has actually challenged me many times, not because she's a friend, because she's our city attorney. She's doing the right thing. And when you make accusations that she has been doing wrong things and bullying, I want to hear them. What are they? What are those accusations? What is the bullying?
Thank you, Alderman Bryan. I have Alderman Novak next.
I turned it off.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I just have a question for Alderman Bailey, because I didn't see the letter from the attorney, so I was unaware that the attorney wants us to go to the somewhere else.
Attorney General.
Do you want it to go there? Because I mean, I'll vote it if you want it to go, but I'm under the impression that you don't want this to go any further, correct?
No, I would rather, as a city, as a board, as a community, we deal with this. I was okay with the investigation when it first came anonymous, but to just keep shopping it around. This is essentially the fourth body that we sent it to now. We went through 3 different cities, another attorney, and that we're just shopping this around like it's a Craigslist lawnmower. Okay, I'm not okay with it going out of here. However, I'm only 1 vote. You're only 1 vote. Everybody else is only 1 vote. We have 3 months, and you guys can actually use your friends of base to move me. But I'm under the impression that it's not about that. It's not about the vote. It's about making sure that I never sit in a seat like this. But,
Thank you. I just wanted clarification on that. Thank you.
Are you done, Alderman Novak? Okay. Anyone else interested in speaking to the motion? Again, it's to refer the matter to the State of Wisconsin Attorney General. Alderman Bailey?
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to prolong this, sending it off to the AG or the district attorney, just to Alderman Jim Bry. You wanted proof I mean, I can give you documentation, but I could just tell you right now. Okay, so first, let's just go back to her going out of her way. After we hire, we use taxpayers' money and we hire an investigator. She still uses her weight and her influence to call up both of my landlords, screaming at her. One of them, she was like, why is she calling me like this? Why is she? I'm like, she can't even do that. Why is she doing that to you? Is that right? She doesn't have the power to do that. If we spent money to hire an investigator, why is she being an investigator? You have one title, stick to that title. Why are you going outside of your title? Secondly, when she represented or was supposed to represent the body as I am a part of the body, I didn't get that same representation that is when she told my attorney that she was representing President Sikowitz. Okay, I didn't get that from her. I didn't get that same kind of coverage from her, was saying, hey, you know, you're a part of the body of the council. I'm going to represent you as well. But when the president of the council, Sikowitz, came under fire, she automatically took his side and said, hey, you know what? Don't talk to them anymore. Just I'll deal with that. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, that those things are unbecoming of her title, of her position. That is where I'm drawing mine from. No, she never called me out of my name. But what I'm looking at is the fairness, the balance, and that's what she's supposed to gauge things on. When she first put this investigation out there and she was shopping it around, she was shopping it around under false allegations, false pretenses that my lawyer called her out on, okay? And she had no business. That's why I was unprivileged to the information about me until it was all presented in closed sessions. So I was always behind the ball. I could never get ahead of this thing because I was always not privileged to information by Kathleen McDaniel, City Attorney Kathleen McDaniel. So I am not saying she's a racist. I'm just saying the way that she treated me, the way that she handled this process is unbecoming of her seat.
Can I got to pop in because we're getting off the subject or the motion, and per Robert's rules, we have to focus on the motion. And I'm just going to state that, you know, as an elected official, whatever happens with each and every one of us, we can discuss on the floor. If there is an issue with a city employee, I would ask that a formal complaint be addressed, and we can deal with how city employees are addressed. I don't want to hash out on the council floor in a public setting a city employee's job performance at this time. We have another process, just like we're talking about this process. We have a process for that as well. So if there is an official complaint, I would ask that that be sent directly to me as the direct supervisor of this individual that we're speaking of. So again, back to the motion, we should be discussing the motion, which is to refer this to the State of Wisconsin Attorney General. Alderman Bailey, I know I interrupted you, but I just wanted to make sure we get back on track. You still have the floor.
All right, and I would just want to say, I have nothing but the most respect for everybody up here. Regardless of where we send this to, you know, we still have lives to live. We still have things to do in this community, and that's what our goal is. So whether we send this here, whether it stops here, it keeps going, but I'll guarantee you, I will not stop trying to improve diversity in this community, regardless of what seat I'm sitting in, regardless of what table I'm sitting at, regardless of whose hands I'm shaking. I will always be a part of this community.
Thank you, Alderman Bailey. I believe I have Alderman Sitkowitz next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to support sending it to the Attorney General for just a couple of reasons. One, I think that's the proper course after all the accusations about council that's coming forward. And two, it wasn't me that leaked out which alder was under investigation. And that shows me that the process, I'll stand by the process all along. When I got the initial complaint, meeting with the city attorney, going through the steps, informing council, bringing it to committee of the whole, I'll stand by that all day long. But unfortunately, the process seems to get tainted when information gets leaked out during internal investigations until they're complete. In this case, let's punt it to the Attorney General, because obviously no matter what council decides, they're going to be called names. So let's send it to the Attorney General. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sitkowitz. Any further discussion on the motion?
Call the question, Mr.
The question has been called by Alderman Bry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Can we see the noes, please? So I have Alderman Bailey, Alderman Novak, and Alderwoman Hanson as the noes. So the motion carries 7-3. Thank you. We will move on to the next items for Committee of the Whole.